NBC News is not a news organization. It's just a word they use to trick you into thinking they're a news organization, but they're actually an activist organization. And right now they want Libs of TikTok creator Haya Reichik in prison. I'm not exaggerating. NBC News targets Libs of TikTok with hit piece accusing her of inspiring bomb threats. But it's worse than that. They're actually going to say that Libs of TikTok has some responsibility, or implying it, and that there should be some accountability. Okay, I'm game. Timcast Studios was swatted 15 times, of which a few of them were bomb threats, of which I believe 2 of them included the delivery of packages constructed in such a manner to bypass bomb detection equipment, resulting in a robot being deployed to our studios and a multi-hour evacuation. Shortly following reporting from NBC News, do you want to play this game? NBC News has written a bunch of garbage about me, and then we got targeted with death threats consistently. By all means, how about I just say it's because? Is NBC News facing any accountability for their lies and their smears? Ridiculous. But take a look. Listen to this. It gets wild. Here we go.
David, have any charges been brought against specific individuals who made these threats? Is there any scenario where law enforcement is looking at the owner of this account, Haya Reichik, and saying, okay, maybe we can hold her responsible for some of these incidents? I mean, investigating a bomb threat, it takes up a lot of police resources. It traumatizes people who are at the other end of that. What sort of consequences could there be here?
That's right, Ellison. Every law enforcement officer I spoke to, up to the FBI, talked about how many resources these threats take up, even when they turn out to be hoaxes. Now, it's important to note that Haya herself is not a suspect in any of these bomb threats. The accusation from victims and from law enforcement is that she has helped to inspire or spark these threats by essentially creating a list for someone or multiple people to go through and pick potential targets.
So when, Tucker Carlson gets added to this Ukrainian list of Russian assets or whatever, the media says it's not a kill list. It's not. But at the same time, you have others in the corporate press arguing that because Libs of TikTok reposts people's own social media, she's crafted a list of sorts. This hit piece is absolutely wild. Post Millennial reports, NBC believes Libs of TikTok exposés are so problematic that they reached out to law enforcement to ask them if they thought bomb threat hoaxes in their communities could have been inspired by Reichik's posts. The author of the article attempting to link Reichik to the bomb threat hoaxes. David Ingram appeared on NBC to state his case. He indicated that it was his intent to provide law enforcement with examples of posts from Libs of TikTok that correlated with threats in their communities. NBC is now openly saying it. Their goal is to frame me for bomb threats and get law enforcement to investigate me. NBC News is sicking the FBI on me. This is how they're going to try and silence me. Unbelievable. She has also been targeted by many other outlets that don't approve of her reposting liberal content for a conservative audience. Reichik has received threats herself. And I will stress this, absolutely. To what responsibility does NBC News bear for lying about me, for posting lies? They once featured my face on the Today Show in a fake news story. That's right. They made this stuff up. So, David, have any charges been brought against specific individuals? Is there any scenario where law enforcement is looking at the owner of this account? Holy crap. We played this one already for you, so we'll read on. None of the 33 incidents picked by NBC have been linked by law enforcement to Libs of TikTok in any way. NBC admits there is no evidence to back this claim up, while the direct inspiration for the threats are not known. The timing suggests that Libs of TikTok posts have been used to pick targets. Suggests, not known. Amazing. I think Haya should sue NBC News over this. And I'm not here to play these stupid games. I hate lawyers. You have NBC News suggesting she should be in jail. And they're going to say, well, you know, Times v. Sullivan says an anti-SLAPP legislation. Don't care. file the lawsuit anyway. How do we fund this? That's the question. Does Libs of TikTok have the means to file a lawsuit of this magnitude against NBC News? And you should make them pay for it when they do it. And you know what? I'll tell you, maybe you don't win, but at least you'll make them have to defend their lies and insinuations and their overt defamation. When NBC contacted the FBI, they did not give any indication as to the status of the 33 incidents NBC attempted to link to Libs of TikTok. Matt Walsh said, alternative headline, people who horrifically abused, mutilated, castrated, and sexualized children later played the victim when their behavior was exposed. Ingram alleged anyway that officials in California, Oklahoma, Minnesota, and Oregon all believe Reichik sparked threats in their localities with her posts on social media that digitally heckle people, such as drag performers, LGBTQ teachers, and doctors who treat trans patients. Police, Ingram said, do not have suspects in these cases, but that the intention behind providing a timeline on her posts that correlate to the threats is to accuse her of providing reasons for locations to be targeted. In essence, isn't NBC doing to Libs of TikTok exactly what they accuse Reichik of doing in providing correlation, not causation, between posts and threats? That's kind of my point. NBC recounts bomb threats made at schools or hospitals that Libs of TikTok has exposed and then blames the threats not on the school's secretive education practices, but on Reichik for making those practices public. In one instance, there was a teacher who was producing OnlyFans content in school and got fired. And they were like, that's Libs of TikTok's fault. Yeah, maybe the people are mad about the porn star in the school. NBC takes its first case study, a school in Coralville, saying a bomb threat was made against a school in that community. Law enforcement quickly determined that the threat was a hoax. It appears this all stems from a post made earlier in the week by Chaya Reichik and her Libs of TikTok account, Dvorak said in a report per NBC. NBC admits fully that Reichik did not make a bomb threat, that Reichik exposed the local junior high school for providing a book that teaches kids about gay sex. In fact, going on to say it was pornographic, but goes on to blame Reichik anyway. Speculation from Dvorak per NBC is that one of the 2.8 million followers of the Libs of TikTok account could have had a role in the bomb threat. In other words, if you expose bad actors in education, you are guilty of the possible actions of others who may have a problem with some of those actions. NBC then goes on to make this spurious claim that Reichik is to blame for the actions of those in other towns and cities as well, all because she exposed educators, administrators, and schools that provide pornographic materials, teach inappropriate subject matter, or perform drag for children and teens. In fact, there were only 3 cases among the 33 identified by NBC in which charges had been pursued, and in none of those cases was Libs of TikTok mentioned. These includes hoax threats made to Boston Children's Hospital, which was exposed in 2022 to be performing sex change surgeries on minors. From double mastectomies on girls to castration and vaginoplasty on 17-year-old boys. The hospital later denied that it was happening, but documentation from their own website showed it was in practice. Here's the important takeaway, my friends. Call it whatever you want. NBC News is the most activisty faux news outlet. You can insult the New York Times. NBC News is 100% fake news, leftist activism. Wild. They have a whole team of people to lie, cheat, and steal and fabricate news. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And they call it the disinformation team. And I'm like, yeah, because they fabricate news. They twist it. They falsify it. They manipulate the information. This is the problem with the media. But now they're going one step beyond. Now they're saying, can we put people in prison? Can we create social and cultural pressure to stop Libs of TikTok with a threat of law enforcement? It's only a matter of time. You look at what's happening to Donald Trump, the fraud charges, the ridiculous claims of rape, which are false. That's right. I will say this is a statement of fact. A court has determined that Trump did not rape E. Jean Carroll. So it is false. A judge determined her statements are substantively true in some degree, but a court has determined, at least it's been reported far and wide, Trump did not rape this woman. But they will come after you anyway, even if they have to make it up. And you can see, this is crazy. The fact that they were asking the question, can we put this person in prison for exposing what we are doing? You think it stops here? It's another grain of sand in the heap. Hopefully Donald Trump wins, but I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.